Well, hello there, everyone. Well, I reckon it's time we get some Sega bass fishing out of the way. So, why don't we just get this game properly loaded up, and then, well, we could just get ourselves started. Now, I hope everyone for the evening has been doing quite well for them thus far. I'd say my first experience with this game would, of course, be when this game originally first came out for the Sega Dreamcast, which you can obviously tell from the impressive graphics from way back when. Obviously, it's doing quite a splendid job of that. Also, kind of makes you wonder how anyone would be able to sit in a seat like that at the front of the boat there, but who am I to judge in these sort of situations of that sort? As you can tell, we got some expert fishing skills there, as it's got some interesting camera angles going through that bass's mouth there. At any rate, let's get this game started now, shall we? So, as the title would make you suggest, we are doing a full run of arcade mode, and then doing a bit of the original mode of that sort. Also, Hide region, how's it going there? I actually do remember doing it, but to be fair, that mode was kind of BS because it was just one go, and then once you ran out of time, that was it. You weren't allowed to continue. So, in a way, that makes this kind of the most superior form in that case. Let's start with the inlet area. Starting with, of course, 13-pound one we are going for. We'll see how this goes then. Of course, probably not the right type of lure we're going for. Also, I just see that huge bass on the way, but that's okay. We'll just that big one there. And honestly, I'd say you, for the most part, you don't need to worry about trying to catch bass if they are pretty much any side but incredibly huge. Because obviously, if it's like that big one right over there. If you catch a big one like that, that's really the only time you would ever find basses of that sort where you have to be careful with how you're reeling them in.
Big one! I'm bonus.
But yeah, I say so far we're doing quite well for ourselves. Also, I had no idea that it had a sequel source. So yeah, this is the one time I would say reel in up until that red bar gets all the way to the top, in which case, just be careful with that. Unless you're like 4 feet away from reeling in which case, just reel it in all the way forward, and then you pretty much got yourself a successful catch. Nearly a 16-pounder. Ooh-wee. I'm telling you, that is one huge bass we just caught
next
there.
area. Large area.
But now we go to the standard stage, a large area, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. You start a new stage, and automatically it puts you right at 1 minute. It's like you have to be practically a fishing god in order to be able to successfully get that amount of swords. But then otherwise, you know, how would you be able to do so otherwise? In some cases, it just don't make no sense, yo. And now we got ourselves a lure. We might as well try this out. It's a bit hard to go through in some cases, but may as well just show it off a bit. So far, seems like it actually worked in our favor. But you gotta be careful with these classes that we're dealing with here. Because again, you want to be sure that you reel them basses in, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not pulling the line too closely. Otherwise, it just makes it that much harder to catch them in there, you know? Just got to be careful with them approaches. So obviously, nowhere near as big as the one we caught beforehand, but it should be, yeah, 7 ounces larger than what we expected for that one.
Cape area.
So now let's move on to the
Enjoy
Cape
your
area.
fishing.
Second to last area for this section.
Select the lure.
But yes, I'm going to stick with the usual
Select
shallow
casting point.
crank. That's the one I usually have the best luck with. Okay, we got a pretty decent size there. Everything seems to be working out quite well. Let's see if we can be able to reel this back in.
Be careful.
See if we can get ourselves a pretty good
Okay, an average size.
310. It's not really the best of times, but definitely not the worst, so we'll take what we can from that. Everything seems alright there, except for the fact that there are no fishes to be catching here. But I'll be doggone it, there seems to be no reason why that be the case. Also, well, thankfully, ordinarily, it would be hard to emulate this on Dreamcast, considering the one game I was hoping to emulate would be Seaman, but of course, good luck trying to get that to work. But thankfully, there's a Steam version of this game, so that's why we're having pretty decent luck with this, because I imagine, unless for some odd reason this turns out to be at least 10 pounds, I think this might be where our bass fishing journey ends.
Time's up.
Now, can you believe that? I practically already caught that fish and it said time was up. I swear to goodness, if it's actually more than...
Big one.
You know what? If I had to continue, at least it's because of something that it wasn't already going to count for me working with that. Also, by the way, I should mention, how's it going there, Jeff? Always good to have you in here. So yes, we're just going to keep fishing up at this point. Hopefully find some more bass for us to catch here. Of course, with no such luck at this point. We just need a little bit close to 6 ounces, and then we will be able to continue onwards here. And I'm wondering, is this good enough for us to get us to our 6 pound limit? For some reason, because this music's playing, I'm not expecting that to be the case. Yeah.
Okay, an average size.
I didn't think so. A 2 pound that could barely feed someone. Some of this size.
It's gone.
Now, are you kidding me? I actually had that one right in my grasp and it decided not to show up there. Well, that's a darn shame, I tell you. But that's okay. We got this one, and hopefully it should be at the very least 4 pounds to catch. We'll see how this one goes. Just gotta reel that bad boy sucker in.
You're almost there. Be careful.
Well, let's see. Average size, I would say that is practically right. We still need at least 2 pounds.
Come here.
Or at least 1 pound 13 ounces to be precise. But I think with this fish that we're going to catch here, this bass, that should be just good enough for us to be able to move on to the final round of this section.
Turn around, slam. Be careful.
And survey says
Okay, an average size.
we are good
Clear.
to go to the final
Go
area,
to
which
next
is, of
area.
course, the
The
palace.
palace. Enjoy your fishing.
Now, all you have to do here is just catch a supersized bass, which is pretty much those huge ones that we found earlier on. Down goes those damn bats. Let's see if we can get ourselves a big size bass from over here. There's one there. Doesn't notice it. Doesn't notice it. Oh, it's coming back. And we caught ourselves a monster bass there. Is it going to be the biggest one yet? Gotta find out. There's only a little bit of time. And guess what? We just caught ourselves a whopper of a fish. Now, I wonder...
This one's
16,
huge.
it is more than 16 pounds, so I think it's official to say this is the highest bass we've caught here. As we will soon find out now.
The biggest bass you've caught.
At the palace,
Grandmaster.
indeed.
Your bass fishing technique is great.
I believe in order to get the Sonic
enter your
lure,
name.
you have to be able to go through original mode and somehow rank in first place in every individual round and overall stages, I'd imagine. Of course, I never really found a use for doing that, but, you know, take that for what you will. Well, I think it would defeat the purpose if I didn't talk like this. I mean, after all, you gotta be expert fishermen of this sorts. I mean, if I were to just talk like this, I just sound like some random person who's just fishing. But if I talk like this, you know, it helps me feel like I'm an expert fisherman of sorts. I mean, you can clearly tell there's a huge difference. Also, have you ever seen a block of gold inside that chest erupting from out of there? It is quite intriguing, I tell you. Quite intriguing indeed. If I was that much in love with fishing, I'd say check out the ass of that bass, but that just is downright wrong. And those are the type of people that like to create the game Seaman, and as we all know, we dare not talk about Seaman anymore, not just because of the interesting gimmick that that game has overall, but because the narrator of that game is the great and late Leonard Nimoy. So, all due respects to him in the afterlife.
Thank you for playing.
Also, for a sentence that has 2 exclamation points, it sounds like that there was a question mark at the end. Like, thank you for playing? I don't know. Is that really the type of game you want to go for? I mean, I'll go for it, I suppose, but there's not really much else to say about that. But yes, now that we're done with the arcade mode, it's time for the true portion of this game, which would be original mode. So let's go ahead and start ourselves a new game. We could be either the male fisherman or female fisherman. Well, although I supported it and everything, I don't want to be one of them weirdos that acts like a male, but then decides not to. So we're just going to put in our first initial of E, and then put down our last name, which is, of course, E for Eizen, and then, of course, Broniac, and then, well, there we go. We got ourselves a name. So now we're going to take part in the Sega Bass Fishing Association of the Amateur Tournament Series. And of course, in order to do this, this consists of 5 different stages. And of course, the one who has the best score after all 5 stages is declared the winner, which is what we want to try and shoot for. So let's just get this started with.
Amateur Tournament Series. First stage.
As it clearly says for the first stage. Now, thankfully, you're able to catch as many fishes as you want, but only the top 10 are able to move forward. And it's a good thing that it's raining, because that means that my shallow crank will become extremely useful for this.
Warning.
Now, the one thing I find that is very helpful, aside from it raining all the time, is that if you want to have successful stages in between these rounds, it usually helps to make sure that you have at least 25 pounds per 4-hour segments. Now, I know what I said, it's 4-minute segments for both morning, afternoon, and evening. But let's just say those minutes translate into hours and such. But yeah, so long as you have at least a 25-pound average, you're pretty much guaranteed to get first place. Alright, that looks like a successful catch right there. Now we just gotta reel this bad boy in and hopefully move on forward this. It's only an average size, but thankfully for me, I know some of the sweet spots that these bass like to come out in.
It's coming here.
Like I said, so long as I got the shallow crank and I'm able to do as much as I can for these sections, these are usually the best times to move forward with these basses. I'm surprised with music like that, you'd think it would be more appropriate to go for big ones. But, you know, take what you can, I suppose. That was just close enough that cast was worth it in the end.
No.
It was only a small one, but you know what? If it's good enough to get ourselves a special lure, I say let's go for it then. I say let's go for it. But yes, I'd say under ordinary circumstances, sure, we'll give that a straight worm try. But for now, all we are concerned about is just trying to catch these bass. So far, with every cast we bring out, that is exactly what we're getting. Now I got the feeling, yep, I thought it would be a small one there, but that's okay. That's why we work our way through these problems. Now as soon as we are able to get the attention of a big bass like that one, then we'll really be on the board there. Once again, just gotta make sure that you take your time with these bass, especially them big ones. Because the last thing you want to do is try to reel in these suckers with a high tension rod there. And already this big bass is going to take us from 15 to well over our 25-pound average. So if we can keep this up, then I've got it. I say that we are going to be able to move on to these fishes. Just got to keep reeling them in. No matter what it takes or how we approach it, just got to keep reeling them in. And it might just be me, but I get the feeling one of them basses just phased its way right on through the bottom of my boat there. Well, I'd say that's 4 different kinds of weird there.
A big one close by. Fish.
Well, we didn't catch the big one, but at the very least, we found another bass that was right here. So I think we may as well just keep going with it.
Okay, you got a special lure.
And we got ourselves a popper there. Which, of course, I demonstrated that, and it's usually good for these sorts of situations of sorts, but for now, we ain't too concerned about that. Instead, it's just a matter of making sure that with every time we cast our fishing pole out, we are able to catch ourselves another bass, like right here and now.
No. Small one.
Now, we're only at about 30 pounds, 14 ounces, which is roughly 31 pounds, but still, we're making good progress here.
Time's up.
Now, of course, we can't say that was not a successful toss, unless, of course, we run out of time beforehand. And as you can tell, already we are roughly a pound, 13 ounces ahead. And if it's still raining, then I'm pretty sure we will still be in very good shape when it comes to these fish. Now that sounds like it is a very big size there.
Careful with the tension.
I'm seeing the big bass from way in the background starting to come closer to us, so we'll have to keep that in mind for when we toss our lure out right into that open area there.
Big one.
So as we give this another go, let's see. Well, we caught that bass right there, so we may as well take it for what it's worth. We gotta do what we can to bring these bass in. Once we do that, well, by golly gee willikers, I bet you anything. We will slowly but surely make our way towards the top of this. Well, darn. We could have gotten a big one there, but I bet you anything there's another one of them small ones. Oh well. So long as we are able to keep moving forward this, we'll just take what we can.
Okay, you got a special lure. Good job.
Well, looks like we got ourselves a rubber jig. Well, as nice as that is, I think we are just going to keep moving this. And once again, it's not the impressively big ones that we've been hoping to get, but once again, so long as we are able to get fishes with every call or with every cast of our rod, well, then we'll just take what we can at that point.
Oh, a big one.
Now let's give this at least one more go, and hopefully we can catch that big one once more. Unless, of course, we got its attention away, and it no longer wants it. Although, maybe. Maybe. Well, I'll be gosh darn, we were able to catch ourselves yet another big one. I would have thought we'd have to recast that one, but we find a way how to make it work, I tell you what. Now, if we keep this attitude going, then I'm sure we'll be able to move forward no matter what. Well, I'll be gosh darn, we're catching ourselves even more and more than biggins. Now, if we keep this up, I'm sure we'll be able to clear stage 1 without any real trouble. And I don't think it is necessarily the biggest one that we've caught thus far.
This one's huge.
Granted, of course, we'll take it regardless, but I don't think it's the biggest one that we've caught yet.
Fight it.
We are able to get ourselves some goodies here. Now, we keep this attitude up, and I'm certain we'll be able to get our stage clear before we even start the final section of this first stage.
This one, you got a special lure.
And now we got ourselves a suspend minnow, because we are certainly that talented enough in order to get it. That's what we're talking about there. Just gotta keep casting right out and get ourselves some good ones here, and then we'll be able to move on forward without any real problems at that point.
Big one.
Now, we barely even left that first section, so let's try divvying it up a bit and moving all the way over yonder. It's going to be a close one, but I think, yep, I reckon we can be able to catch this bass before time runs out. I'm telling you, we are doing fairly well for ourselves. Fairly well for ourselves.
Time's up.
And you know what? It's probably for the best that I didn't catch that one bass's attention, because then that would have made me even more upset. And as you can tell, whoever had that 30 or 29.1 ounce thingamajigger of sorts, well now they only got like 19 pounds of sorts. So as you can tell, we are clearly doing very well for ourselves.
Select the lure.
Especially
Select
since it's once again raining, so that means even more chances for us to catch nothing but the biggins. As if we keep this up. Oh, baby.
It's gonna be a big one.
Oh my good golly gee willikers. We might get ourselves a huge one there. Keep this up. We might need to turn this bass into an anchor because of how heavy it is. But I wonder how big this bass is going to be considering how huge it is.
This one's huge.
Over 15 pounds. Well, since we're at the 100-pound mark, we're well over it, I should say, I think we are going to be doing very well for ourselves.
Be careful with the tension.
Now, I tell you, I've been fishing ever since I was a teenager when the Dreamcast first came out, so I can tell you, I've been fishing multiple times, and I'm telling you, unless it's those huge or incredibly huge ones, I have never seen a line break when trying to reel any other size fish in. But yes, I'd say we are doing surprisingly well for ourselves at this point.
Lower the rod.
All we got to do is reel this sucker in, and we can add even more to the pile there.
Okay, an average size.
So already 21 bass in, and we are doing quite well for ourselves.
It's coming near.
Well, I'll be. I was hoping to catch that bass that I saw on the screen, but an even bigger one came by and took my lure. And you know what? If it's an even bigger opportunity to catch a bigger bass, I ain't about to say no to that. So why not?
This one's huge.
11-pounder. I say there's nothing to sneeze at when it comes to bass of that size. Most certainly now. I wonder. Oh, there's another big one. Well, I'll be. If I keep this up, maybe I can get double the expected amount to catch. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Especially with the way I'm fishing at this point. So I wonder how big this bass is going to be.
This one's huge.
Well, tear me out and blow my socks out. That one was a straight 17-pounder.
Bite it.
I must admit, even I'm surprised we're doing this well. I got the feeling. Oh, well, I thought we weren't going to have any luck catching a fish with that silly intent, but as you can tell, once again, I proved myself wrong at this point.
Oh, a big one. You got a special lure.
And now we got ourselves the buzz bait. Well, ain't that lovely? Just because of our good buddy Buzz. I actually don't know anyone named Buzz.
It's coming near.
I've seen plenty of movies that had people named Buzz, but you can take that for what you will, I suppose, at that point. Now, I should mention there are two different types of reeling. The left trigger does a slow one, whereas the right trigger does a standard one. And I figured, unless you're doing situational fishing, you know, why would you ever want to use the slow reel? You know, take that for what you will. will, I suppose, at certain points. Unfortunately, I'm too far away for that one, but maybe I see that one bass back from that area. Perhaps I can intercept it before time runs out. Now, I doubt I could be able to reel it in before time runs out.
You're almost there. Time's up.
Oh, well, don't you know, I missed it. But with a catch of 25 bass, we actually did double the expected amount. Give it up for Eizen D Broniac, the stage 1 winner. I am simply one of the best. And as you can tell, we got ourselves a little scoring system. So long as you rank 7th place, you're guaranteed to get at the very least 1 point. But who wants to get 1 measly point when you can shoot for the top to get at least 30 points? So obviously the best you can score in a 5-stage round is, of course, 150 points, which is what we are going to try to shoot for. But if there's anything I remember about this game is that it's the tricky parts right around here where the weather just stays perfectly fine. You know, if it's cloudy, that makes the water shallow. If it's raining, that makes it even more shallow, so that much easier to catch bass. But of course now we're switching over to Lake Fishin. And here I have to actually change areas because we need the reed area. Otherwise we have to go incredibly down in the dumps, and well, that's one thing we don't want to do here. We got ourselves some lightweights, but that's okay, because it looks like there's big uns right over yonder. And if there's any way how we can make up for time, I'd say this is the area where we would do so.
It's coming near.
It's not the big one, but like I said, we take what we can. Because if we have trouble during one time of the day, catching a whole lot of bass during one time of the day is usually what helps make up for them lost times there.
Find it.
Well, I see that big one. It's all I might need to rethink how I'm fishing if I want to catch that big one there.
Okay, now got our special lure. Good
And
job.
we got another lure, the paddle tail.
It's coming near.
Now we're talking. We caught ourselves a big one. If we can just bring it close enough there. We caught that big one. That'll greatly help us out should we start to lose a bit of traction. Oh my goodness, nearly a 20-pounder. Now that's the type of fishing we want to try and shoot for. We keep this up, folks, I tell you what, we will be sitting rather pretty in the future.
You're almost there.
And I'm actually surprised I was able to catch something with that. Let alone expecting it to be somewhat average. I thought it would be one of the damn small ones, but again,
Find it.
if it's a good option, we'll take what we can at that point. Well, alright, we caught ourselves yet another decent size one. And of course, by decent size, I'm hoping to mean, yep, it's a big one, which is usually the average there.
Oh, a big one.
But now I'm curious about this section over here. Because this is one of them sections, especially since there's a big one over there. biggest biggin, but it's a biggin nonetheless. Again, take what we can if it helps us move forward at that point. Just gotta ease off on reeling at times if we want to make sure that we are able to catch all of these bass right here.
This one's huge.
A 10-pounder. I'd say that's a good catch as any. Now, I wonder, can we... Not just yet, but if we work ourselves in the right way, we might still be able to catch his attention there. And we still got ourselves another hour to try and catch that bass before we move on to the next round. So let's try moving it over there. If he's still by that area... Oh, come on. Yeah. And that, my friends, is how you can avoid the small fry and catch the big ends if the opportunity arrives. Obviously, if you got no other choice, you just gotta accept your losses in this one. But, since we found an open opportunity, we take what we can at this point.
This one's huge.
A 15-pounder. Now that is what I call Sega bass fishing. Oh my goodness, we might actually catch ourselves another big one if we are lucky. Like I said, it's all about them timing, but we should, hopefully, should be able to do well. Catch this one, and with 5 minutes to spare, we caught ourselves another big one. Perhaps good enough to be able to reach our stage requirement should we do rather poorly here. But I figured just for ha-ha's sakes, toss it out there, because why not? We're already triple the amount for this round than even the top Christian person right there. So,
Noon. Select the lure.
it's raining. So, once again, I have the best of luck down in the reed section. So, let's just go ahead and try this area, see if we get a couple good ones there. Not necessarily the biggest of the bigs there, but again, we're doing fairly well for ourselves. We can afford to, get some of the smaller ones out of the way, too.
No. Small one.
Like I said, we've been catching a lot of big ones, so we can afford to catch a few small ones. And is it just me, or did it sound like it hit against something hard when clearly there wasn't anything there? Maybe it's just me, but I thought I heard it bang against something there. Because usually you don't hear that pseudo-metallical clang of sorts unless, of course, it did something like that. So that's where that big bush had got this whole time. But I'm not too concerned about it. We're actually doing fairly well for ourselves. And if we felt sort of okay at around the 75-pound area, if we can get over 100, well then, no matter what happens, we pretty much guaranteed ourselves an easy victory. Well, it looks like I tossed a bit too far for that one section. So, unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be any bass we can catch over there, but maybe we do a bit closer to that. So you see, even the smallest of mistakes can help you be able to recover any sort of situation of any sorts. If you're lucky enough, of course. Well, let's see if we can reel in this sucker right over there. And it seems like we're doing rather good for ourselves. Rather good, I must say.
This one's huge.
Get another near 20-pounder there. We're doing doing fairly well for ourselves, I must say. Fairly well. And I see yet another big one there. So, as per usual, we gotta see if we can do what we can. Catch that big one there. Oh yes, we're not even barely past the overall halfway point, and already we're doing fairly well for ourselves. Well, that stinks. But that's okay. As one door closes, another one opens, they always told me. And I'd say that's a very good definition of that meaning. And there we go. We caught ourselves yet another big one. And quite the big one, I must say, judging by its appearance. Not necessarily a 20-pounder, but I say that's still very good for ourselves. But of course, I don't think there's going to be any more bass to catch from that section. So let's try this area once more. Maybe some of them migrated to that area.
Bite it.
Well, what I tell you. Couldn't even catch that. But I see it just went back to that area. So maybe, if we're lucky, we can go back to that section and be able to catch his attention once more.
An average size.
Let's see, toss it back there. Well, don't that be it all. I don't think it's going to be coming back at that point. Maybe if I adjust it like so, we might have about just as much luck with that one. Still, we caught ourselves a decent sized one here. May as well take it for what it's worth. Now, of course, I'm making this seem like child's play of this sort. As you advance on your way through the tournament, it does get progressively much harder. For example, in this one there is no limit to how many fish you can catch or what size fish it can be, but as you progress onward through these tournaments, eventually there's going to be a pound limit of what you are able to catch. If it's too light, obviously you have to release it back into the wild. But of course, if it's big enough, you can still keep it. But then you get to some of the more advanced tournaments where it gets to the point where you have to make sure that you can only catch X amount of fish, and after that, the next lowest one that you have in your pile must then be released back into the wild. So there is definitely a competition where it tests your fishing abilities to its max. And would you look at that, 2 big uns 2 times in a row. Well, I'd say I'm about the luckiest fisherman there ever could be at this point. But then again, that's all I could say. This is just pure luck. Who knows for real at that point. Also, since we caught pretty much all the big ones in that area, let's see if we can divvy it up a bit. And of course, this is just an experimental one we're doing here. Especially since I see yet another big one in that area. Not sure if it's going to stay in that section, but of course, we'll take what we can at that point. So of course, going back here, which was the last place we saw that big one. And so far, it looks like it has moved on forward. So now, let's instead try...
It's coming in.
It was right there, but I don't think we caught its attention too much, so hopefully it should still be in that area afterwards.
Be careful.
Well, we'll only know for certain unless we try again.
Okay, an average size.
So let's slightly move it to the left and give it another go. Oh man. I must say I am sorely disappointed because it moved on. But, if nothing else, I've got a general idea of where it's going. Plus, it's not like that one was a complete total loss. We were able to still catch something there. Small or not, it was still very decent size. Now, I wonder if it's all the way to that area or just stopped part way.
Bite it.
Oh, something. Again, it's not necessarily the last one you catch. No, I'm wondering if that's the bass that I was thinking of early on. Well, either way, let's see if we can catch the one from back there. And so far, it looks like that is going to be the case. I'll be darned. Looks like they all migrated back to that area. Well, folks, I guess you know what this means. We're going to try that section once more. Hootenanny. That's all what it is, just a big hootenanny. We caught ourselves yet another big one. Now I wonder how big this one's going to be.
This one's huge.
An even 20-pounder, and I got the achievement unbelievable size. Can you believe in miracles, folks?
It's coming here. It's gone.
Nope. If there was ever an opportunity to catch that bass, that boat has long since gone. Now, I wonder if this achievement that I got was because of catching a bass that was 20 pounds at the very least, or it was a 200-pound overall size. Either way, go me. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to be coming back. We never checked this section, not that it really matters because time's almost up. Oh, so that's where the other one was. Well, who knew?
Time's up.
Not that it matters since I pretty much assured myself victory at this point. Oh, just a few pounds shy of being triple the amount overall. But let me tell you something. Being over 200 pounds worth of bass ain't nothing to sneeze at. I will most graciously take this victory for me. And already, you can tell that we have a fierce competition between me and T. Lewis. I've gotten first place both times. That person's got second place 2 times. So you can obviously tell this competition is heating up like nobody's business here. So of course, why stop now? Let's keep this moving. Stage 3. Though I wonder. Well, the only thing I got going for me is that we are back at Lake Paradise. And despite it being morning, the weather is perfectly fine, so we might not have that much luck catching bass, or at least the amount of size of bass we've been catching thus far. If we are able to pull this out of our behind, we might just be lucky. I'm not going to count my blessings that harshly. Let's see how we do here.
Oh, a big one.
Let's try tossing it right there. See, I did see a couple of big ones in that area. Well, I got one fish's attention, and so far, that's all I need. Now, of course, we still got to be careful with this tension switch because, as I mentioned before, if it's at least 4 or less, you can pretty much reel that bad boy in with virtually no
This
consequences.
one's huge.
Not so much any ones far in between there.
It's coming here.
Now, last I checked, I saw a big one right over there. Now, sadly, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this one here. Not the big one I was hoping for, but we did catch something, so it's not like it wasn't a total loss or anything.
Okay, an average size.
Although I did see another big one right around there, so let's see
It's coming here.
if we can try and catch this one. In fact, I'm seeing quite a couple over to the left, so I should probably try going for that area next.
No. Small one.
Let's see, I think it was roughly around here where I saw a couple stay stationary.
Bite it.
Well, darn. I was hoping to catch that big one that was on the screen. Still, if we can get at the very least 30 pounds, despite how everything's going so far, we should still be good overall.
Oh, a big one.
So I'm wondering, how's everyone's evening going so far? Hopefully it's good on your end. As for me, any day when I'm going fishing, it's always a good day.
Bite it.
Or evening for that matter. But alright, we caught ourselves shit nice. Not necessarily a big one, but so long as we are able to catch bass regardless of its size, any cast is always good. I'm not seeing that many bass in this section, so this might have been a lost cause from here. So in that case, let's head on back over yonder, see if we can get any luck from over here once more. 'Cause I bet you anything, there probably were bass over there, but then they migrated over towards the center, or maybe even the right section. In fact, we haven't checked the right section yet. Why don't we give that a shot first?
It's coming here.
Well, I see a couple big ones. Not necessarily the biggest of big ones, but we gotta be quick if we want to be able to catch this one. That might have just helped me out here. Alrighty, so if nothing else, we at the very least have ourselves 30 pounds backing us up here. Shame it couldn't be the big one, but at the same time, if it was that heavily huge one, we probably wouldn't have enough time to catch it, and that probably would have left us far behind. Now, speaking of Lewis, he is... Well, I'll be darned. He's all the way in 12th place. I would have thought he'd be able to catch up with us.
Select the casting point.
But yes, now that it's a pretty normal day, this is where I expect things to not go as well as I would hope.
It's gone.
Yeah, as you can tell, this is where usually anyone, or rather any fish at this point to come by. Let's see, let's go with the straight worm. Those usually give me good luck during this kind of weather. Now what you want to do here is make sure that it's practically all the way down to the bottom, but not necessarily dragging on the floor. You just want to make sure that it's low enough to the floor that it's practically swimming on the ground. And that will usually catch the bass's attention there. But of course, I ain't seen any bass at that section, so I don't think it's worth my time and effort going there. But that's okay. We can still try this area instead.
Bite it. Okay, fish.
Well, there we go. Thanks to our little help, the pile of woods at the bottom, that helped us catch that bass there.
Be careful.
Now, as you can tell, I'm more or less used to the shallow crank, but of course, it's usually one of those weather temperamental type of lures there, so you can't always expect it to work, hence why I'm deciding to divvy it up a bit and instead go for the straight worm instead.
It's coming here. Fish.
There we go, now we're able to get that. And it's a good thing I cast the line there, because now I got a pretty good idea of where that biggin is. Although I notice that it's heading straight for the right side, so it might be in my best interest to toss it at the same area again. And hopefully, by the time I reel this bad boy in, it'll be right back where it was beforehand. Of course, for all I know, I could just be full of it at this point. Well, of course, it saw it, but I don't think it wanted to go for it. So let's give this popper a good shot. See if that works. Felt something in there, but I don't think he's gonna go for it, unfortunately. No, I've wasted far too much time with that. Let's see, what's another good one? I guess we'll go back to the shallow crank at this point. We gotta see if we can try and catch at least one more fish. But yeah, this is exactly what I meant when I say it's usually weather temperamental sorts. Doesn't look like I'll be able to catch another fish then.
Time's up.
We'll shoot. And let's see. For once, I'm not in the lead. Yeah, I'm lagging behind by about 11 pounds, 4 ounces. So, if the weather were to get cloudy, let alone rainy, that would make my day. I'm not expecting it to happen yet. So, this could be a bit difficult, folks.
It's coming here.
Just kind of hoping I'll be able to get at least first place in all areas. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
It's gone.
Alright, let's try the paddle tail. That usually works pretty well. Except, you know, when it goes really slow like that. Okay, I've already wasted an hour doing that. We gotta try and do better than that.
Bite it.
caught some at least. We can't say we didn't try. But I don't think that's going to help us be able to recapture that lead there.
Okay, an average size.
Alright, let's give the old buzz bait a try.
Find it.
But of course, you gotta be careful with how you handle this. It's a bit tricky of sorts, but I don't think that this one's working quite as well. Nope, so we gotta try ourselves a different one. Let's see, let's head on back to the shallow brink, you know, stick with what we know at this point. I'm telling you, that is just deeply upsetting. You think it would get all the bass's attention, but no, it didn't.
It's gone.
Now, I'm telling you, that is just deeply upsetting. I'm seeing a whole bunch of them biggins right there. They're not thinking about grabbing it. That just makes me beyond upset at that point.
It's coming here. Fish.
Well, folks, I don't know what to tell you, but at the rate we're going, I'm not sure we're going to be able to catch any more big bass. We would need a freaking miracle to make that happen. And considering we only have a little less than half an hour to do so, I'm not expecting it to happen. It's a shame, but you know what? Sometimes in life you just can't get all that you want.
Be careful with attention.
Because like that old saying goes from that one song, you can't always get what you want.
Oh, a big
So,
one.
if you try sometimes, you just might find that you get what you need. But, of course, that's just a song. I don't know anything about that being an actual thing of this sort. Are we even going to have enough time to kiss this one? Of course not. So we ended... Oh, we couldn't even get a single point there. What about Lewis? Was he anywhere? And oh, he got the 1 point. Well, that's upsetting there, I tell you what. Granted, we're still in the lead by about 5 points, but that doesn't change the fact that, well, we gotta make up for this in stage 4 and 5. Especially stage 4 and 5, because if we can't set up a good pace there, well then, I don't know what to tell you about getting first place. And considering the weather's fine, that again doesn't set up good high spirits for me, you know. It just doesn't set it up that well. Now, I get the feeling that there are no biggins over in that section. So we might need to try over here instead. Well, we got a biggin. If nothing else, we got ourselves a biggin. Also, make sure that you let go of that tension there, Eizen. If you try to pull in everything that you can at this point, all you're going to do is end up breaking your back. And, you know, everything will just be, you know, just beyond bad at that point. Now, of course, I did see a biggin over there. I'm not sure if it migrated or whatnot. Some fat cade. Now, I'm wondering what that is. I mean, I wish I could say Eizen the Broniac was playing, but this is Eizen the Carpiac, you know. Because all I know about is fishing, and what was that thing in between? Oh yeah, more fishing. Well, I caught some fish's attention, so I guess I'll take that one. And of course, it's pretty much average size. Not that bad, but not necessarily the best either. Now, I get the feeling that big one didn't move out of the way. It's still in that general vicinity. And I thought for a brief moment I was gonna let that be a throwaway cast. Thank goodness that was not the case. But in that case, if it's more or less close to there, I think cast right around yonder might help instead.
Fish.
Well, again, it's not necessarily worth. Also, there's a whole plethora of big ones right over there. Maybe we can get some good luck around there. So let's actually switch it up to the right a bit more. Now, unfortunately, I think they all got distracted by that point, so it ain't even worth continuing there. And unfortunately, the big one that was there earlier probably saw that, of course, cast and thought that was a stupid thing to do. Why would you keep fishing there? Which is why that small one was caught instead. But you know what? Everything's going well thus far. We can't cut ourselves out just yet. Well, it's not the big one that we want, but it's something we can catch at the very least. So, there's that at the very least. We're doing alright for ourselves. I wouldn't say necessarily the best, but we're doing pretty alright for ourselves.
Bite it.
I don't think he's going to be able to catch that one there. I did see a number of big ones right over here. So let's try this section. Well, they're all hovering in that area right there. But of course, I'm going to catch ones over here first. But I don't think we'll be able to catch any more with this next cast. I could try to prove myself wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Bite it. Yeah, it's got it. Time's up.
Well, of course, we caught one of them big ones, but it didn't count. But we are at the very least 11 pounds ahead of the other person.
Select the lure.
And once again, decent weather, so
Select the casting point.
this is the point where if we ever want to make a good comeback in this part of the stage and the next, this is the time to do so. Of course, I don't think it's going to be happening unless we see some big ones around that area of sorts.
It's gone. Bite it. It's gone.
Nope, don't see any coming up there. What about in this area?
Bite it.
Well, there is a big one there, but I doubt it'll be enough to catch his attention. Like that one bass that was just swimming on towards me,
It's gone.
even he got bored of that. So let's give this paddle tail a go. See if that'll catch anyone's attention there. Well, I caught that one. So that's a good thing there. So I think at this point, with this kind of area, this might be the only other way I can think of that'll not only help us stay in the green as far as catching bass go, but at least get us a decent score onward of sorts. But at least, I don't think we caught the attention of that big in there, so I think I might know where to put the next cast at in order to catch his attention. Which would be roughly around there. For solid lure, I don't think it's gonna. Well, it's not the fish I wanted, but it's the fish that caught it nonetheless, so take what we can.
No. Small one.
The way we see it, while it's early enough, best to catch something than nothing at all.
It's coming here.
Is it though? Is it?
Yeah, it's coming here. Fish.
We've caught that one. Again, not necessarily the one we wanted, but it's something we're catching at the very least.
Okay, an average
It was the
size.
smallest of the average, but it was a good catch nonetheless. But again, I don't think he's going to come after it. And yeah, if you're lucky enough, sometime you can get your worms and lure and fish and wire, what have you, to phase right on through them.
Bite it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be fast enough to catch this one. I can certainly try, but I don't think it's going to be fast enough. Unless maybe...
Time's up.
Nope. Just shy of it, I'm telling yous. Well, we're still behind, but thankfully only by about 1 pound and 8 ounces.
Evening. Select the lure.
And actually, the weather is cloudy, so that does make the weather shallow, or the waters, I should say, shallow, which does increase my chances of catching a fish. So, if there was ever a time to make a comeback, this is definitely the best time for it to do so. And let me tell you, just in time too, because whoo-wee, we've got some mighty catching up to do.
It's coming near. It's gone.
Well, shoot, that one didn't work. Maybe if we're lucky, we can try and catch some other ones along the way here.
Yeah, it's coming here.
Caught that one, though. Still not the massive biggin,
Be careful.
but I get the feeling that one probably migrated to a different area.
Oh, a big
Well, if
one.
nothing else, we can certainly try a different section, see if that'll get us any luck.
It's coming near.
Caught something, if nothing else. I'm still wondering where all the biggins went to. Well, we might need to give it another shot at that general area.
Oh, a big one!
And by that general area, I mean more or less towards the right. Well, I see a biggin there. Massive biggin. We still caught ourselves a biggin nonetheless. Not a massive biggin, but something that'll help us nonetheless. Just gotta make sure that we do just a fine enough job reeling in. That, we caught ourselves yet another bass at this point.
This one's huge!
Now, I get the feeling the one from beforehand has already left that section. So, yep, my suspicion were true. It went to another area, and I think I know exactly where it went to. So, we'll give that area a shot once more. Head on over yonder there. Try our chances around this area. Well, that was a no-go, but I saw where that biggin went. So hopefully... There we go. So now we bass fished here. We're doing pretty well for ourselves at this point. Just gotta lure it in just a little bit more, of sorts. And we caught ourselves yet another biggin.
This one's huge!
Well, I tell you what, folks, if there was ever a time where we can make the biggest comeback of them all, this is the time to do so. Especially with catches like this, it'll definitely help us get back to business. Ourselves another big one, folks. We're doing quite well for ourselves. Do I wonder, was that a lightning flash I just saw there? It's like suddenly there was a massive blue blur of sorts. Maybe it was just my imagination, but that's pretty much what I thought I saw. Using that one point, but whatever. We caught ourselves another bass there.
An average size.
And I'm pretty sure that we've got what is necessary in order to get first place and everything, but if we can catch that big in there, I would be extremely pleased. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we have secured first place, especially with catching a biggin like that one, because that's a massive biggin we see there.
This one's huge.
And of course, cast that out because why the heck not? With 21 basses caught, we have secured first place by a difference of what looks like 37 pounds and 13 ounces. So we were able to make quite the comeback with that one. And so far, it seems like the only person that is lagging behind us is T. Lewis. Now, of course, there's 30 pounds to get, so if I'm able to get, at the very least, first place, no matter what happens, I've got this in the bag. However, my only main concern at this point is, of course, Marcione and Lewis. So long as they don't do better than me in this final stage of the amateur tournament series, then I'm pretty sure I've got this in the bag. But we're going to give this at least one more go
Amateur tournament series.
and try to continue on with this.
Lake Paradise.
It's rainy, so
Warning.
we got that on our side.
Casting point.
this another toss into the lake here. We'll see if we can. Oh man, we can get the attention of that big one there. Well, shoot. You think I'd be better at this bass fishing of sorts? But no. Sometimes they just slip right through our fingers and fins. Especially given that small size there. So I wonder if that big one pass on through here. Well, we did catch another bass there. But I see the big one. It's right over yonder. I get the feeling if I would have cast a rod out in that same place, it should be just fast enough that I can possibly get that big one's attention.
Yeah, it's coming here.
Unless, of course, it just left that area altogether. Nope, it went all the way to the right there.
Be careful.
Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to change up my plans a bit.
Okay, an average size.
If I want to be able to catch that big one, let's try moving it over yonder.
Bite it.
Big one. And I was right, they're all hiding out in that one areas there. So maybe, if I'm lucky, I can go all the way to the right and be able to
big one.
get the attention of them from all the way over there.
Bite it.
Well, it turns out I'm a bit too far off to the right.
You're almost there.
But that's okay, that just means I gotta move a bit to the left, and then I should have it perfectly centered over by the big ones. Oh, look at that, there's a little lobster in the ground there. Too bad this isn't Sega lobster fishing, otherwise I'd be a master at this game. Oh darn, I caught that bass when I wanted to catch the big one. Well, I'm pretty sure I caught its attention and then it just swam away there.
Okay, an average size.
So let's try fishing over here, see if we get any more luck in this area.
It's coming here.
Now, if only you could catch that big turtle there. Well, we still caught a big one regardless, which is nice.
Be careful with the tension.
We gotta be careful to make sure we are able to move on forward with this section. Still caught a big one, so we're doing pretty good for ourselves, I'll tell you what.
It's coming here.
Of course, I highly doubt we'll be able to get that triple weight much like we did back in the second round. It'd be a nice thought and all, but, you know, can't hope for everything at this point. And it looks like we caught ourselves another bass there. Just a decent sized one. Already I see a big one right next to the boat, but of course it's all the way to the side, and how would you expect me to catch it from the side when clearly logic would say you could just drop it right there and it would be just as good. Although I do see that big one right there. I get the feeling if I want to shoot for another big one, this is probably going to be the last one I can catch before time runs out. But we'll see how it goes in that part there.
This one's huge.
Still a pretty decent size regardless, so overall I can tell we're doing fairly well for ourselves. But alrighty. I'd say that time is rightly about up at this point. That was just enough time to catch another fish, but not enough to keep it. as you can clearly see, we are 10 pounds 2 ounces in front of Baker, which as far as I can tell, doesn't really matter at this point.
Select the lure. Select the casting
Well,
point.
it's not raining anymore, but the weather is still cloudy. So that just means it's not as shallow as it was beforehand, but it's still shallow regardless.
It's gone.
Doesn't matter. I still caught that biggin's attention. In my opinion, that's all that matters.
Be careful.
We still caught ourselves a biggin and decided to go, oh no, tension's about to give out right when it didn't even matter. But of course, both of them biggins came after me, so I don't expect them to be at the same place right afterwards. Although there is that bass just underneath that reef. Though I don't think it's gonna come on by. But that's okay, because we got this one right over there.
Be careful.
And that's a pretty decent catch right there.
Average size.
So let's move onward to this next section over here. See if we can catch ourselves some more bass from this section. Let alone some bigger bass.
Bite it. Fish.
Well, I didn't expect that to work like that, but take what you can, I suppose. Seems to be decent enough.
Okay, an average size.
Now, we just gotta toss it right over there, because I did see a bunch of, if not incredibly big.
Lower the rod. Miss.
Well, that's okay. I didn't want that one. I wanted this one.
It's gonna be a big one.
Plus, I was actually positioned just right that it gave me quite the opportunity to catch that one. So thank you, small bass, in order to make this catch
one's
possible.
Huge.
Very useful. Very useful indeed.
It's coming here.
Now, I see there's plentiful basses in this section here. Now, are any of them thinking about getting this one? That one was. And considering it was the biggest of the bunch, it's for the best that this one caught.
You're almost there. Be careful with the pink.
I see there's a biggin pretty much at the far end of where I am. But if memory serves, I believe I saw another biggin right over here. So let's try casting it over there. See if we can capture that one's attention. Well, it's not quite the attention that I wanted to get from that one. But
Be careful.
I suppose it worked nonetheless. I caught something at the very least.
Oh, a big one.
Let's see, because I get the feeling that one's not going to stay any longer.
Bite it.
But let's see if we can find a way how to get the attention of some of these other bass right over there. And of course, it doesn't really matter for this one, but yes, I was right. There were some biggins there.
No. Small
I get the
one.
feeling if I want to catch that biggin, this might be the last good attempt I can get at it. Otherwise, everything else will just be eating up my time.
Bite it. Miss.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about catching that one. And no, it looks like that big one that was there earlier is no more.
Here.
Now, of course, this one's too far away. There's no way I can be able to catch this one in time. It's a darn shame, too. That would have been a nice one to catch.
Time's up.
I couldn't even hook that fish, which is a shame. Now let's see. Lewis is really the only one that concerns me at this point, since he's only in third place by about 23 pounds 3 ounces. And as for Marcione, well, let's not even discuss that one. That's just
Select the lure. Select the casting
all
point.
points. And for the last round, we still have ourselves some cloudy weather. And I couldn't even catch the big one there, which is a darn shame. And already I've seen that it's leaving that general vicinity. It's a darn shame too.
Be careful.
Oh well. We still caught ourselves another bass, so not gonna complain about that at the very least. And my goodness, how are you expected to go all the way to the far end to catch that one? Still, we were able to catch that biggin.
Be careful with the tension.
Oh, it's not necessarily a biggin, like a baby biggin, if nothing else. Yeah, that's a baby biggin. But we'll take it.
Oh, a big one.
Definitely ain't gonna say no to that. Now, of course, I saw some of the biggins flock over here, so... Well, there's definitely one over there. How to capture his attention, I wonder. So that's gonna do no good, but maybe... Is that enough to alert his presence? Sadly, that wasn't. We'll shoot. Apparently, I caught someone's attention. Just going up to catch that one. Oh, you know what? I think I saw a whole bunch of them just over to the right, so I might want to think about
An average size.
aiming right over yonder. Of course, as far as I'm aware, that's a bit too far to the right.
Coming here.
We won't know unless we try.
Turn the rod left.
No, I pretty much got the general vicinity of that area. So I guess once I catch this one, we give that same area a try and see if we can be able to catch that biggin.
Okay, an average size.
By the way, while we still have time in between these matches, what are your personal experiences when it comes to fishing? Of course, it's not much for me to say at this point, since all the best fishing I can do comes with this game, and apparently that biggin is not there anymore, which I find quite surprising if you were to ask me. However, I should be able to catch this baby biggin. That's me fine enough there.
Be careful with the tension.
Somehow I get the feeling they migrated all the way back to the center there.
Be careful.
Also, how's it going there,
Oh,
Pan?
a big one.
I take it everything is going well from your end up until now? How so? If you don't mind me asking there, my good buddy Pan. You know,
Lower the rod.
I should have thought so. It's usually the Champion's Road, which is currently what I'm on right now. Basically the starting end of Champion's Road, but that's pretty much what it is when it comes to original mode of sorts. Now, if I'm lucky enough, hopefully I can catch another big one here, but
It's coming near.
I'm not even sure. Oh, never mind. It's right over there. But yeah, so long as we are able to catch this one, we should easily reach 100 pounds, no problem. Yeah, because we caught ourselves a fish, so long as we bring it close enough, which we just did. Alrighty.
This one's huge.
And it was at the very least £10. So yes, we are pretty much guaranteed to get first place at this part here. Not just for this stage, but this round overall.
Time's up.
And survey says we got first place. And it looks like, yeah, Marcione didn't do nearly as well, and Lewis only did good enough to get 70 pounds, 2 ounces, compared to my 103 pounds and 5 ounces. So, yep, we caught ourselves first place for that stage. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't an overall perfect. As you can see, we had to deal with fine weather during round 3, which of course meant not the best time to use the shallow crank. But overall, in this tournament, we ranked first place, so take what we can, I suppose. We are indeed the amateur winner, as you can tell by that achievement that we got there. We ranked first place on this tournament. So now we can say bye-bye to the amateur tournament series and move right along towards the tournament series. But somehow I get the feeling I'm going to need to take a little break, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to head to the bathroom, maybe refresh my drink of sorts, and who knows? When we come back, we'll give the challenge tournament a try and see how that one fares out in the end. So we'll see you in hopefully a few seconds of sorts. tell you what, folks, I think that was a good enough break, don't you? Why don't we get back to some more of that Sega Bass Fishing, sponsored by the Sega Bass Fishing Association group. We're about ready to tackle the challenge tournament, and this is where things really start to get real here. If I were to use that in a light tone weight, because we still get to catch as many fish as we want to, but now they have to be bass that are at least 3 pounds or more. Any less than that, they get tossed back and we don't get to keep them. Also, compared to the previous tournament where we had at least 5 different stages, this one only consisted of 2, so usually, unless you're pretty good at praying to RNGesus, as they say nowadays, I wouldn't know anything about that. I usually like to pray to the baby form of Jesus, you know, if you were to ask me all about them Bible thumping and whatnot. And Bass, you doing alright there? You seem to be freaking out of sorts. And of course, this one will most likely be a bass that we're going to have to release of sorts. You can already tell by the way that it was so super small, that's usually a guarantee you have to toss that one back in. And this one, I get the feeling once again it's going to be yet another small one, so, well, it's not a small one, but yeah, not big enough to keep of sorts, sad to say. So let's try using the paddle tail roughly around here. Hopefully we can get some big ones around there. Well, the good news is I found out where all the big ones are, and I do see a big one over to my right, but if I want to have a better chance of catching the big ones, then I should probably go towards the left area, roughly around here.
It's coming there.
Now this one, I'm most likely assured that it'll be a keeper of sorts, which is a good thing too, because we are starting to, starting to lag behind. And usually when you hear that theme, it's pretty much a guaranteed keeper of sorts. But let's try moving a bit towards the left there. Hopefully we can get the attention of that other big one there. Of course, I say that's a big one. That one, I can most assure you, is a very, very small one there. Or at least small enough for it to not even matter to me. As you can know without tell by that. Now, of course, I did see some of them migrate over here, so let's see if we can get some better luck bringing it over yonder. Well, we did catch that one, so usually this is a sign that it's a good one that we are catching here. But yes, as you can no doubt tell, we have got some grounds to make up here. And this is the time where we have to do that, If nothing else, that was at least a 5-pounder, always worthwhile in the end. Yeah, I'd rather not that one, because that one, in my opinion, was not worth it. Now this one, on the other hand, I'd say is more than a sure worth it. So let's try and get this going on here.
Keep it size.
Pretty good there. Doing alright for ourselves. Obviously, it could always be better, but we're doing pretty good for ourselves, I would say. So why did I go for that one? That, I'm pretty sure, is not going to be worth trying to catch in the end. Well, we'll still give it a shot. You never know. Of course, it's not good enough. Why would I think otherwise? But We can try this area again, since I did see yet another big one, and of course I threw it far too much by that edge. And if I want any hopes of catching that big one, I'm going to have to try and move it over yonder. Because this is going to be the one and only good time I'll have at trying to catch this fish. Well, we caught this one at least, so we got to be careful and make sure that we catch this one very fast, since we only have about 5 minutes left in order to catch that. Which is just enough time to do so, but I still say we probably could have done much better than that.
Bite it. Time's up.
And of course, that's how we end this round, by staring at that fish's ass. And as you can no doubt tell, we have a whole lot of ground to cover up, so let's see if we can start doing so now.
Select the lure.
Well, the good news is that it's cloudy, so if there was ever a time where we could play catch-up, this is definitely the #1 time we can do so. Just to make sure that it was at least worth attempting to do so. I don't think it's going to be big enough.
Release size.
Nope. Unfortunately, it is not big enough for us to keep. But we still have open areas here that we can try. I see that one. Is it good enough to follow us in the end? Unfortunately, that one was not good enough to try and catch up to us. And of course, we caught some of the smaller ones, so that is not going to help us in the slightest bit. Maybe if we threw it more or less here, we might have better luck trying to catch all the big ones. Well, I suppose that's fine, but that's not really going to help us in the end. So I think that one is, yeah, too small for us to keep, so... Plus, to be fair, I only mentioned that this is good enough to improve our chances of catching bass. I didn't say it's guaranteed to help us catch the biggest, baddest bass of them all. Sad to say. So obviously that's a no-go. What about over yonder sorts?
Bite it. It's gone.
Obviously that is a no-go. We might actually be a bit in trouble, folks, if this were to keep up here. Try a bit more towards the center area again. Well, we caught ourselves a decent sized one, if nothing else. But I'm not sure if it's necessarily going to help us in the end, since we need some of the bigger ones in order to catch up in this competition. So yeah, it's a 4-pounder, which is nice and all. We need some of the heavy hitter ones in order to catch up in this game. You know, as the cool young hip kids nowadays would say, I'm not saying. That's just me saying. And I already get the feeling this one is most likely not going to be worth it in the end. Yep, it's about 1 pound and an ounce too shy for us to be keeping that. Now I am most definitely wondering where all the big ones are. I'm telling you, if there was ever a time we needed to play catch-up, now is that time. Why is it not happening? Now I am seriously wondering where all them big fishes went to.
Fight it.
Well, it's another good fish. I can't deny that, but it's not the biggest of the biggins, you know? That's not really going to help us get back in this match and all. If anything, that just helps us avoid from getting last place and everything. Since clearly, we got to do far better than that. We're only like roughly 7 pounds ahead of the person in last place, and already 50 pounds is the max there, so,
Evening. Select the lure. Select the casting point.
Oh, there we go. That definitely cost me some time. So we'll definitely attract more fish now that it's raining and everything, but we gotta make sure that we catch only the biggest and baddest of them all in order to do so. And I think that is just what we need in order to help us play catch up at this point. Gotta be careful with this. That should be just enough to help us get back in this game.
Keep it side.
With 9 pounds, yeah, I'd say that's definitely good. And we got a rank killer, which, not entirely sure what that achievement is. I'll need to check that one fairly afterwards. I did see a big one over there, but of course when I was doing that cast just a while ago, I don't think it stayed there anymore, so that might have been a wasted toss there. We'll see if we can make up for it in this general vicinity of sorts. Oh, it's coming towards us, but I don't know if it'll come on by this general area. Well, it's not what we wanted, but at least we made it somewhat worthwhile. I say somewhat because I'm pretty sure, yep, that one's just too small for us to keep at that point.
Bite it.
And of course, the smallest of the bunch is the one to catch it, which isn't really helping me at this point.
Release.
Yeah, that's not really going to help me at that point.
Bite it.
Especially with that, we see another big one. I think it is going away from that vicinity, so that's not really going to help me in the end.
Release.
We'll try over there, see if it's good enough for that general area. Well, it sounds like it's big enough for it. Of course, I don't think it'll help us as far as playing catch-up at this point. It's good enough for us to catch and keep, but not necessarily enough to help us get back into this game of sorts. Again, it's something we can catch, but not necessarily something we can keep at this point. Yeah, that's not really going to help us in the long run, so we need more of them biggins.
It's coming near.
And I would not be surprised if that is the same one that we tossed aside a while ago.
Turn the rod right.
I see at least some biggins over there. Not necessarily if it's the same one from beforehand. Let's see. Let's try roughly around yonder. that definitely did good in the end. You know, I hate to say it, folks, but I don't think we are going to be able to move forward in this one because we need to be a certain rank in order to move forward, and so far it is not looking good for your guy, Eizen. Did I say Eizen the Broniac? I meant his cousin, Eizen the Carpiac, you know. Entirely different person. I can assure you, entirely different person there.
It's coming here.
Why did I catch that? Probably because I realized there's not that much time to move onward here, and that is already going to be a no-gooder. So let's just toss that out because why the heck not at this point? 12th place. Ouchies. And already Larson is there. Thank goodness it's not M. Larson. Because, man, that Michael, he knows how to game the system with that. And already, only one more stage to go through, and that's the end. So, this might be the end of our journey right here and now, folks. Especially if all we have is just fine weather there. That is most definitely not going to help us in the long run.
Bite it.
I suppose that's alright. It's not really going to help us in the long run. If anything, it got that Bass's attention, but it's not really going to help us in the end. So yeah, that is no good. But I did see a biggin right over yonder, so let's see. That was good enough to get his attention, and of course it already migrated away. Yeah, I'd rather not get the attention of that one. That one I could already tell, compared to that other biggin that was over there, it just wasn't worth it in the end.
It's coming here.
Woo-wee doggy, look at that lobster go flying on by. Well, it's not necessarily the best one we're going to shoot for, but may as well take it for what it's worth, I suppose. Well, one thing's for certain, I can't really rely on shallow one for too much, so let's try switching on over to the paddle tail, see if that gets us any more better luck.
It's coming near.
Well, it sees it. Most definitely wants it. That's for darn sure.
It's gone.
Nope. Whatever interest it had beforehand, it already just lost it. But I don't think that biggin was there that I left earlier. Or maybe it just did, and I'm just plain ignorant of that point. Oh boy. This adventure of ours isn't really going as well as you would expect from the previous episodes. We are not catching bass that we were hoping to catch here, and already it's looking like it is slowly but surely starting to become that much hopeless for us folks. I'm hoping we can make a comeback here, but we gotta pull quite the miracle in order for that to happen there. And of course, it's not necessarily the fish that we wanted. We were hoping to catch that big in there and at least get ourselves on the scoreboard of sorts, but that just ain't gonna cut it. Not like that. so let's just reel that quickly on in. Are we actually going to go through a stage where we can't even keep a single gosh darn fish in here? So if that's the case, that'd be surely disappointing.
Fight it.
Like beyond disappointing even. Yeah, so far it looks like we're not even going to catch another fish here. Of sorts.
Release size.
Oh well. I get the feeling, if this doesn't work out, maybe do another attempt at original mode, but so far it looks like obviously not that many people are into bass fishing at all, whether it be normal game fishing or the video game type of person or version of that. Not that it matters, because we did absolutely abysmal. Couldn't even catch a single one there. Ooh, and Baker's trying to show us up.
Select the casting point.
I mean, thank goodness the weather is kind of iffy, so that'll help us attempt to catch some fish there. Don't necessarily think it's going to be the best kind we can get. Well, that's the kind of bass that we want to try and catch at this point. We need more big ones there. You know, we did so abysmally poor during the first stage. We gotta make up for it right here and now.
Keep it size.
And with a size of 17 pounds, 9 ounces, I think that'll most definitely help us play catch up in this point.
Miss.
Yeah, that one is not really worth it in the end. If I want to get another shot at those ones, I might want to try shifting over a bit to the left. Unless, of course... Oh, nope. That one's still there. But I don't think it's going to have that much attention span in order to stay for it. However, if it still is sticking around there, maybe I'll have much better luck with this one.
It's gone.
Got it with that one, though. That's a good attempt there. So gotta be careful with retention there. Already halfway through this competition, and we're at the very least starting to make up for lost ground.
Keep it size.
So now we caught up to the original round, but as I said, this round's only halfway done, so we have some serious ground to make up here at this point. No, it's a decent enough size based on that music, so of course I gotta go for this one. So let's see if we can start adding more pounds into our pile over here. At least try and make up for lost time.
It's coming here.
Well, we caught ourselves another big one. You know what? That's just what we need in order to move forward with this situation of sorts. Almost got it. There we go. We're able to keep moving forward with this, especially with a fish of this size.
Keep it size.
Of 16 pounds, I think we are back in this game, just like that.
It's coming here.
Yeah, I do not want to catch a bass of that size. That one is just too small in my opinion. So maybe it migrated a bit to the left. Well, I can't see any biggins, but hopefully that one is big enough. Yep, just big enough that it can move forward, and I can use this as a bit of surveillance to see, you know, where the next fishing area should be of sorts. And how am I supposed to catch a bass from over there if it's way too close to the boat? You know, that's just a whole bunch of nonsense there, if you would ask me.
Time's up.
Well, it looks like that bass was going to spit it out just before then. So we have recaptured a lead by roughly 6 pounds of sorts, but
Evening. Select
yeah, the weather is back to being fine, so we might be back to where we started.
Bite it.
You know, if we're not careful and everything. Yeah, I suggest we reel this one back in and try and go for the paddle tail.
Bite it.
So if those bass didn't migrate, then that should give us at least another attempt to catch them basses from over yonder. Well, we caught something that we can keep at the very least, so can't really complain about that, I suppose. But we gotta make sure that we catch at least decent-sized bass if we want to be able to continue on over this trait. So now roughly over to yonder. Because by the time we get close to pile of wood there, that should be just close enough to get these basses' attention of sorts. Although I am not seeing any of them move close, so... Oh, that's a darn shame. You know, you hate to see that happen, but if we don't have shallow waters to deal with, well, that's just going to make it that much harder to catch these bass. Well, we weren't going to have any other luck any other way, so, you know, may as well go for that, I suppose.
No.
Use this as a bit of surveillance of sorts. Now, hopefully, those biggins didn't migrate of sorts, so we can hopefully have another attempt to catch them from close on by.
Near.
Is it though? Is it though? Because that is still... Plus you gotta love the fact that this game is giving you hints on how to handle your rod, saying, you know, turn the rod this direction, and then almost immediately tell you to turn it the other direction. I mean, no offense, but you're sending me some mixed signals here, if nothing else, you know. Yeah, I didn't want to attempt to catch any bass with that one. Oh, but that one, on the other hand, I'd say that is more than necessary for catching there. So, of course, the ideal thing to do here is to catch something that is, at the very least, up to at least 80 pounds in order to attempt to assure that we'd be able to get the first placement there. But of course, at the rate we've been going throughout this round, I'm not seeing that happening roughly anytime soon of that sort. Especially if there be no bass over in that section. Of course, with only half an hour left, we gotta find some way how to be able to get some bass's attention. Much like that. I think we'll have just enough time to get one more attempt, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough in order to ensure that we get first place of sorts. It's close, but I don't think it's going to be enough time for us to play catch-up at this point. So no, it was worth an effort, and we might get first place for this one, but I don't think it's going to be enough in order to qualify for the next tournament. We only caught 8 fish, but it was enough to get at least roughly 6 pounds worth of fish more than Maker. So he might have been a first place winner for that stage, but ooh! Apparently, we did just good enough, even though we technically tied for second place. Apparently, I got the majority for it in a 3-way tie and got second, so never mind. It's good enough to move forward. It's not first place, but it's good enough to move forward. So now, we went from an amateur tournament series on to a challenge tournament series, but now things really start to kick off here as we enter the professional tournament series of sorts. Now I'm debating whether or not it's worth to continue on at this point or just save it for another time. Because here's the thing about the professional tournament from here on out. Like, I'll just show you what the rules are at this point. The same rules apply that we only are able to catch at least bass worth 3 pounds at the very least. Any weighing less than that don't count. And we still go back to 5 stages. Only the top 3 move onward to the final tournament series, the Master Class. And the problem here is now only get to keep our top 5 bass. Here, you make sure you catch the best bass, and only the best of the sorts. So I think this might be an appropriate time for us to call a stream here, and we can save that for next time. But with that said, I'd like to thank y'all kindly for stopping on by. Hopefully it was a good way to pass the times as we continue our bass fishing of sorts. But I think that'll be good enough for one day of this sorts. And let's see, who can I recommend it to? Well, for one thing, I'm definitely going to give a shout out to Juker right now, who is currently playing through various different retro games of sorts. But of course, I'm going to send you on over to my good buddy Constantine, who is doing anything but having a casual time as he's going through Doom Eternal. You know, that might be something that is right up Eizen the Broniac's alley, but as for me, Eizen the Carpiac, that just seems like a bit of a stretch. But normally he's usually the type of person who will be that. I'll see if Eizen's into doing any serious gaming of sorts, but if you want to ever come back for like a chill stream of sorts where we just go bass fishing, then y'all might more than welcome to stop on by. But I say until then, folks, thank you kindly for stopping on by, and hopefully to see you all later in the future. Take care, and here's to hoping you catch that big old bass. Catching that big old bass. That sounded wrong on so many levels, and I deeply apologize for that. Hopefully y'all come back now here.